The cafeteria is a multi-purpose room, and it's not the most inviting space because it is dreary and bland, and it just popped in our head, well, this is it, you know, it's like go big or go home. And so we decided to go big.
I love the idea of finding other art forms. And I feel the same way about myself. I felt like for the longest time when I was a kid I loved art, but I ended up being a musician for most of my life because, maybe partly because I didn't feel like I could draw. And I thought, how could you ever be an artist if you can't really draw? And now that I'm an artist, I've realized that I still don't draw very well. It's not my thing. What I do, but it became related to paint for me. I can paint, you know, and I can draw and paint, but it's something about that medium that really speaks to me. And so I felt like this was the same with these children, that some of them felt like they're not attached to a pencil, but if you give them some glass or some small things to deal with, or a toothbrush, it's something much more familiar and special, and they realize that art can be so many things.
It's fun to it's like you're just drawing, but you get to design something that you actually get to create. It's going to be something that's going to stay somewhere forever.
It was a tool that was useful, you know, in earlier civilization. I thought, oh, what a great medium. Instead of just like, you know, a flat, you know, painting that doesn't have, you know, so that they could do reflection and a self-portrait. And then with our poetry unit, we write and we write and we write and we share and we edit and we read poetry. And so I thought it would be great to really write about who they are, and then when you look at this art piece that they've created with the help of our artist in residence, you could really read this poetry and then say, oh, aha, you know, this is them. I can tell this piece. And it may be that, you know, they talk about like living on an island, and so their mask is surrounded with, you know, it has waves on it, or maybe the blue of the water is represented, you know, and that's where I am. I'm from this very small place. And some of the students live off island, and they have their two worlds, and so it might have the other half of their world, or their two different homes, and their mask is split. And their poetry reflects that, and this is who I am. And for some of my students, they've come from other countries, and to share their culture, it's a big, big piece, and to say, and I can look at them and say, you know, I know this is really who they are, and who they want to become, and it shows.
When I started writing, I wasn't thinking of what I was going to write. I was trying like to go back where I used to be, and to think, like feel what I feel before, and to take all like memorize all that and try to start writing about it. My mask was represented by the colors and how I painted it, and try to explain, try to take some ideas out of the poem and fit it into the mask. Like the darkness of my room, as it says in the poem, I represent it with color black all over my mask.
They know going into this class that their work is going to be on display. And so they're working and putting themselves out there, and it will be in the public. So they know that they're going to do that, and they are free to express themselves and fearless in doing so. And then when it is in exhibition, the mask, the poem, and the photos of them, it really shows who they are. And I think that that is a wonderful experience for their future, to have gone through that whole process and then to experience that satisfaction of a job well done.
We don't know a lot about that culture. So it's really important to look through another lens and to be able to examine it. That's what we ask kids to do. That's what they're doing in 6th grade. It's an overview, it's an introduction. So I come in and introduce them to physical theater. And I introduce them to the concepts of theater, which is all about presence and awareness and confidence, things that kids, fundamental basic learning blocks for kids to experience. I don't come in there thinking, oh, I'm training a bunch of actors. I come in to instill curiosity and to instill this sense of there's not one answer. It's a question to find another question. Composition. So composition for dance or theater, one small basic principle is this idea of space. So we have high space, medium space, and low space. So we can look at a picture that the kids create, and the first thing the kids will ask is, does it have high, medium, and low space? And if it doesn't, if it's everybody's doing the same thing, then we're able to go, well, what would make that a little more dynamically interesting and visceral? And then they change their shape, or one kid notices, oh, nobody's standing up here. Maybe I should add dimension to our picture. And once they do that, it allows the audience who's receiving the information to have a visceral response. So it's really beautiful to watch the kids figure that out, to know, no, it doesn't mean you're just, well, I did it, it's done. It's more, okay, I did that. Did it land? Did the information that I've learned, put in my body, can I also pass it on? And did it land in that person? Did they get it? I so love it. I find the kids are changing before your very eyes, and they're developing before your very eyes. And if I can get one kid to become aware of their body, or one kid to be that much more curious about the world around them, I've done my job. Done my job.